Now I know what you're thinking.
I need it, I want it, please, God, I need it, please, I want it now, why, I want it now, please, I need it.
And I know it because, goddamn, I'm thinking it too. But within that thinking, well, there is speculating to be done. We're gonna get a lot of monsters across the title updates. There's several and so many categories, and it's gonna be a big deal. And undoubtedly, surely, at least one of them is going to be a new monster, even a new returning one, something that isn't just a variation on a monster already in the game. And I want to hearken your mind back to Base Rise before the final title update, when we had a look at the relic records of the Sandy Plain, and we had this gem that simply stated, as the crimson glow falls upon me, our people flee this land, but I promise to survive, that we may reunite. And, well, that quite literally, directly, gave us a hint, a prediction on...
Oh hello, Crimson Glow, Valstrix is back, and yet you dare to attack. Well, I'm not having that. I'm not crazy, you're crazy, just dragon hazy, amazing, and I'll be glazing in your blood, and hover.
So it would make sense then, given that history has been established of this happening, to look to the new maps, the Citadel and the Jungle, and the relic records found there. And indeed, the Jungle tells quite the tale. And that's what I want to focus on today, have a little bit of an examine and identify just what is, well, the large dragon with the steel blue wings. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, of course. There is an entire story to tell, and tell it we will, before I'll tell you what I think I've been told by this story that we're going to tell. So, to begin the telling, after fighting through the humidity and countless squalls, I finally found the ruins. Now it's time to get to work. There's a large square at the center of the ruins. It's obviously man-made, as it's surrounded by murals. It's a miracle that these murals survived this heat and humidity. I should observe them carefully. One of the murals depicts a large dragon soaring through the sky on steel blue wings. Next to it is a picture of humans bowing and kneeling before the mighty gales its wings produce. Perhaps this used to be a shrine where they performed rituals to placate the dragon. The mural continues. There are people grabbing spears as if to stand up against this humongous monster. The tribe that created this shrine must have found a way to rebel against the creature rather than remain subservient to it. As I take notes, it strikes me that I may be witnessing the birth of us hunters. I have to wrap up my report and return to the guild post-haste. Rain and humidity be damned. First and foremost, very cool. Secondly, the idea that this mural depicts the birth of hunters in the jungle of all things, also very, very cool. It is one of the oldest and most venerated maps, so it's quite the place to have it, and jungle ruins are a classic. So the question is then, what story does this tell of? What dragon, what monster, what creature did they worship before eventually rallying against? Well, the description, the characteristics that we have to work with are thus. Number 1, this happened on the jungle. Number 2, the creature can fly. Number 3, it is big, massive, ginormous. That keeps getting referenced to. Number 4, it is steel blue. And finally, number 5, it is capable of creating gales, winds, storms, that type of thing, which either is kind of weather-based powers like a Matsu, or it's just so big that the beat of its wings has that kind of effect, which is entirely possible. So this is what we're kind of matching monsters to try and find our best fit in the most scientific way possible, which our original intrepid jungle explorer, I think, would very much approve of. Steel grey, by the way, is this kind of color, a steely grey. I know, shocking, but it's important to establish it before we go, well, color matching the catalogue of crazy creatures we have at our disposal in the Monster Hunter world. Candidate number 1 then, the initial kind of gut response is obviously Cashaladora. He is, well, originally based on the jungle. He obviously has wings, he can fly, he is a steely color, though I wouldn't say blue, and definitely has wind power. powers. So, a solid 4 out of 6 on the "this is our guy" scale. And of course, this is the most boring answer, but it is the most kind of intuitive, especially because it's on the jungle, and it might just be a nice nod to, well, Cashala in ancient times. Cashala was certainly around during the ancient civilization because they built buildings out of Cashala, so that kind of ties together fairly well. But again, it's the boring answer, and we're going to go a little bit further because of course we are. Let's get a little bit hopium-y, as they say. I think they say that, right? So I have 2 other strong contenders here. The first, then, is, well, my favorite Elder Dragon of all time. My second favorite monster, most of the time. It is our Lord Gog above! Yes, indeed, Gogmazios. So, why Gogmazios? Well, he does kind of fit the bill in more ways than you might expect. He is the largest flying monster in the entirety of Monster Hunter. So certainly can fly, certainly has wings, certainly is big. And that is a solid 3 instantly. He also is a steely blue under the tar. That is the colour of his hide naturally. So that's 4 out of 6. He's got no connection really to the jungle. That wouldn't be one hell of a stretch. But you could definitely argue the beat of his wings is powerful and big enough because, you know, he is massive and powerful is enough to create winds whip them up, so it could come across as foe, well, air powers. So we'll give that half a point for a solid 4.5 out of 6 here. But that said, he is a final boss, and they don't really bring them back, and, well, that's already a big nail in his coffin. But the thing is, can you imagine hints at this giant flying steel blue dragon, and it turns out to be Gogmazios of all things? Oh, I would be utterly in love, as I already am utterly in love with this magnificent creature. But, you know, you'd think you'd have references to the tar, to the goop. Why is he flying over the jungle? He definitely is one of the more potential monsters, but at the same time, would I put my money where my mouth is on this one? Perhaps not. So we move to my other candidate then, and well, thanks to Espinas, I think this one is perhaps more likely than it has ever been, and that is Shantien. This guy, well, roams far and wide. He's also known to attack, well, hunters, their creations, their ships in the sky. He doesn't like people. So him actually having an issue with the civilization in the jungle is certainly believable. Him flying over the jungle is certainly believable because, again, he roams far and wide very quickly. Technically, he has wings. They're little kind of fan nubs. They're not sort of flappy like you might imagine, so we'll give him half a point there. He obviously can fly. He is fairly big. I mean, he's longer than Cashala, not that much bulkier, but certainly you could kind of see him that way, so we'll go for another half point. He is definitely steel blue, the most steel blue of the monsters. He's very much matching that color, and of course he has wind powers, weather powers that extend to lightning as well, but he's not constantly crackling with it. So yeah, again, this is a 5 out of 6 if we allow for the half points, though you might argue that's being generous. In any case, imagine if this is a subtle hint to the second frontier monster to be revived and canonized, and it's something as legendary as Shantien, who isn't too crazy, he's not too insane, he's definitely reasonable, he's well loved, he would be a good foil to a Matsu, god imagine a turf war, and I think would certainly be well placed in a wire bug environment. Crazier things have happened, let's be honest here, and the idea of the other, well, steel, grey, blue, wind elder dragon making his way in one impactful update is certainly something that's quite delicious. Then, of course, there's also the always possibility that it's just entirely something new. It's just going to be a new creation, something that does fit it retroactively, but as it currently stands, we have no idea about it. That is always on the cards, but, you know, you can't really speculate as to that front because it could literally be anything. In any case, something big, flying, and wind-powered was all about the jungle in ancient times, and while it's likely Cashala, there is enough vagueness here and enough that doesn't quite match him that it certainly could be something else, coupled coupled with the penchant for hinting at future monsters established with the Sandy Plains Relic Records, well, there might well be something here. What do you guys think? Which of these monsters is most likely in your mind? And indeed, which one would you most want? That's always important too. For now, I hope you've enjoyed my tinfoil hat ramblings. Like, if you indeed have, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of this channel on Patreon down below. And until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.